And good morning. Welcome back. It is Tuesday, and we are continuing what we started yesterday, talking about what it means to be a good partner. And today, what I want to talk about is being a good partner off calls. So you're back at the station, or you've just cleared the hospital, call's done, patient care is transferred, cool. The acting comes off. You don't have to be your perky professional paramedic self. You're just normal Joe in the truck with your partner. This is where I think we struggle uh, in our culture is, we can put on the smiles and put on the act when we're on calls, but who we really are comes out when we're not on the calls. And so this is where our personalities really like come to blows with each other, or we get along famously. It's kind of a wild card. It depends on the chemistry with your partner, but there's a lot of tangible things that you can do and not do to cultivate a good partnership when you're not on calls. And this is going to sound maybe not weird, but I think it might surprise people that I would put this as a priority. But I personally believe that when you clear a call, the number one thing that should be coming out of your mouth when you are going back in service and leaving the hospital, or leaving a scene, let's say you did a waiver, first words out of your mouth: do you need to go anywhere or get anything? And let me say the first question out of the person who's driving, because if you're in the passenger seat, you're hostage. You're just going wherever wherever that person's going to take you. So if you're driving, the first words out of your mouth, in my opinion, should be, do you need to go anywhere or get anything? And that gives your partner the opportunity to say, hey, you know what? I'm fucking hungry. Or, you know what? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I know I'm not going to get any sleep. I just need to go get some caffeine. Maybe your partner needs to go get some cigarettes. And I know this is a topic that actually came up in the interview that we did a couple weeks ago. If your partner has bad habits, are you being a good partner by enabling that? Now, I think there's a line to be drawn. There's a difference between poor life choices and things that are actually like illegal, or the things that compromise the safety and well-being of the crew as a whole. So, obviously, if your partner wants to go to the liquor store, I would recommend that you don't take them there. That's a pretty obvious one. Um, but if they're just wanting to go get cigarettes, okay, it's a free country. They can do that. Even though we know that it's horrible for you, causes cancer, causes hypertension, causes cardiac issues, lung problems, everything. You have a right to make dumb choices. So, and also there, I would say there's an element of compassion with this topic specifically, because okay, do I agree with smoking cigarettes? No. Have I, do I occasionally imbibe an old cigar or something like that every once in a while? Absolutely, I do. But that's like, I mean, at this rate, it's like once a year. So I, I, I understand that the people that have to have it every day, it is an addiction. And one, if I like try somehow to keep my partner from going and getting cigarettes now, that is not going to have a life altering effect on them. Plus, the next call, if they're in the driver's seat, they're just going to go drive and get cigarettes. So, I think there's an element of compassion to say, hey, you know what? Nope, I don't agree with this life choice. I don't think this is the right thing. I don't think this is healthy. But I also know that if you don't, you're going to go through withdrawals of one degree or another. And that's just a bad recipe for a bad day, no matter how you look at it. So, am I necessarily going to fork over cash to buy you a bunch of cigarettes? Well, no. fuckers are expensive. But I don't see a problem with, driving your partner to the gas station and letting them get some. Like, it's not your job to police their life decisions. But outside of that, being thoughtful of your partner and giving them the opportunity to say something, I think, and even if you just want to get back to the station and go back to bed, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you've been up all night, still ask them. And I see medics sometimes have a harder time doing this than EMTs do. It's way less common in my experience, and I'm speaking anecdotally, so take that with a grain of salt. But my personal experience tends to be that outside of like a FTO kind of position where you have a medic who's trying to make the service kind of look good for the new hire, when it's just two regular Joes on the truck, the medics have a harder time with doing that, with offering to make stops for their partner. I don't know that it's malicious. I don't think it outright is. I think it's often just a result of burnout, and people are just like, I just want to go back to the station. I just want to get the fuck back to my bed or my recliner as fast as I can. Okay, I get it. However, there's two of you on the truck, or maybe more, depending on where you work. I have the luxury of being by myself, so I do not have this problem, and I absolutely fucking love it. I love it. But that aside, it's a small gesture. It is. Just ask your partner if you need to go anywhere or do anything, and actually take them there. Like, actually take them. Obviously, you have to stay in your call area, all that stuff, but that's a little thing you can do that makes or breaks someone's day. So be thoughtful of your partner. Take them where they need to go, where they want to go, even if you're not on the call. I would say another thing is be aware of how your partner is doing. Be aware of whether they are an introvert or an extrovert. I feel like, and especially in the South, this is really bad out here. And it's predominantly older providers that do it, but there's also a decent number of the younger ones that kind of get in this habit too, because they learned it from the older providers. And I call it getting tar babied, where someone literally will not shut the fuck up, even though you are dropping cues right and left that you do not want to talk. If you're having a conversation with somebody and the only feedback you've gotten from them in the past 10 minutes is wow, okay, damn, they have checked out from the conversation. They do not want to be talking to you. They're just being polite and not telling you to go fuck off. So read the room with people, because there's some people that just are outright introverts and don't want to talk, and that's fine. It is not your responsibility to change them. Their desire to not talk is no more or less important than your desire to talk. And extroverts need to exercise some emotional regulation on this. Me personally, I have kind of morphed on this over time. Like, I have become more introverted in general, but I can still keep up and, have a social life, but it's on my terms when I choose to, not just because you want to talk to me. So, showing respect for people's time and people's energy. If your partner is clearly fucking exhausted, either mentally, physically, or both, let them be. Make sure they have what they need, and then let them rest. Don't fucking talk to them. Let them check out. Let them recover the way that they want to. And also, when it comes to dealing with, your personal life, your personal drama, all right, we're all normal human beings who work really inhuman schedules and deal with a lot that your average Joe doesn't deal with. So when it comes to, troubles at home, troubles with family, it's usually amped up quite a bit. So if your partner clearly is going through some shit, let them be. Ask them, hey, are you good? Is everything okay? Accept whatever answer they give you. If they say, I'm fine, clearly they're not, but they clearly don't want to tell you. So don't keep pushing. Accept it and shut the fuck up. If you leave them alone, they may actually open up to you about it. They may actually tell you. But if you go on trying to egg them on into conversation, it's not going to fucking work. They're going to get pissed off and they're not going to want to talk to you and they're not going to want to work with you because you can't leave well enough to fuck alone. And I've been on both sides of this. I've been the talker and I have been the not talker. And these days I generally end up on the not talker side because I don't really care to share my business with most people. Or if I do, I give them a very sanitized, very, simplified version of it for the most part. For the most part. Depends on the situation. So respect your partner's space. Just because you want to talk doesn't mean that you should talk. Let them be. If you would like to talk, put the bid out there for a little connection. If they bite, cool. If they don't, leave the fuck alone. You're not dating them. You're just work partners. You don't have to love each other. You don't have to like each other. But you can show some respect and give each other space. Let's see. So we've covered, taking your partner wherever they need to go, giving them some emotional space, mental space, what have you. Both of you are responsible for the truck. Just because you're a paramedic doesn't mean you're not responsible to check off the truck. I would argue that you are more responsible for making sure everything is on that truck. Now, does that mean that you, as a paramedic, are the only one who can check off a truck? No. And I will freely admit this is much harder for me now. Just mentally, more of a chore than it used to be because the service I spent the bulk of my time at in my career, the longest tenure I've had, all of their units were identical. So I had every single thing memorized. So me doing a truck check, I can do it all pretty much by heart. And I knew exactly where shit was, what was there, what wasn't there, all of it. Now it's a little bit more work because I just don't retain that information. Even though I'm on a permanent vehicle, I'm only there every fourth day, maybe. So it's not like every day I'm going and doing checkoffs, 4 or 5 times a week. It's just not happening. But as a medic, you're responsible for making sure that you have all your tools and that all of your tools work. Like, you need to make sure everything's in order. So, yeah, none of us want to, do anything more than we have to. I get that. But if you want to be proficient at your job, you need all the tools to do your job. Because without your tools, you ain't shit. You're just somebody who knows how to ask intelligent questions. That's it. Without tools, that is literally all you are. You are useless without your gear. So if you're missing gear and you had the opportunity to make sure it was there and you fucking didn't, that's on you. To make sure that to the best of your knowledge and best of your ability, you're doing your truck checkoffs together. Together. Your EMTs need to lay hands on all of this stuff too, because guess what? When you're up shit creek on a call, you need your EMT to be able to know what you ask for and where to fucking find it. They can't do that if they don't check off the truck. And you can't know if it's there if you don't check off the truck. So both people need to contribute to this. Both people need to make sure they actually have the critical gear to run calls. Does that mean you need to count band-aids? No, the fuck it doesn't. But should you look at your ET tubes? Should you look at your biads? Should you look through your medications pretty well? Yeah, you really fucking should. It's not fucking complicated. What's another thing about being a good partner off shift? Or not off shift, but off calls. So here's another one. And this is a general principle. And this can be used and abused, but I think I can caveat it fairly well. My personal belief is that what happens on the truck stays on the truck. Now, there's caveats and nuance to that. If what you're doing is jeopardizing my safety or the safety of our patient, that's a fucking problem, and I'm going right above your head. Sorry, I'm not gonna put up with that shit. It's one thing if it's an accident. It's another thing if it's completely fucking reckless. So, yeah, those are the kind of things that you need to involve management. If you're having a chronic issue with clinical care, and you have tried to address it with your partner, and it just hasn't worked, okay, that's something that needs to be taken up and needs to be dealt with because you're gonna hurt people. You are going to hurt patients if you need remediation on things and you're not getting it. Another thing too, when as far as what happens on the truck stays on the truck. Obviously, if people are taking narcotics, they're taking medications. It's not okay. That's something that needs to be addressed because there's pretty significant legal ramifications for that. So I get that. But when it comes to personal stuff, when it comes to, hey, hey, you made a mistake on a call. You missed something. You fucked up a skill. Not something that caused harm to the patient necessarily, just hey, you fucked up. Okay, cool. I don't need to go parade that to every fucking buddy else. That's a conversation we can have. And if it's just like, hey man, I'm sorry. I'm just I was distracted. I'm dealing with some shit. I wasn't paying attention. It's my bad. I know what I did wrong, and I'm not going to do it again. Okay, cool, fine. That's as far as the conversation needs to go. Or if it's, hey man, I'm sorry. I haven't done that skill in a long time, or I haven't done that skill period other than back in school 2 years ago. Like I really was kind of fumbling because I didn't know what I was doing. Cool. That's a conversation you can have. That's a teaching moment. That's a bonding moment as partners that you can have off of the call. Those are the moments that make you a better clinician and that make your partnership better. I'm trying to think of something else. Obviously, have your partners back if they're being outright dishonest. If they're being with malicious intent, if they are being dishonest, manipulative, whatever. Okay, no, leave that shit alone. Unfortunately, you have to cover your own ass at some point. But if your partner is being hounded unjustly, whether it's by hospital staff, by management, by other people, whatever, stick up for your partner. If they're catching shit from a patient, okay, maybe your partner said something a little off, but you should still protect your partner and do your best to preserve their reputation for the patient. So even in intervening, you should do everything you can to build up your partner, even if you got to chew their ass later. There's a place I used to work at. They called it managing up. So basically, propping up other people. Propping up your other teammates, other people in the chain of care. So let that be your default. That you look out for your partner. You need to chew their ass and chew their ass. And that's another thing. If you need to chew someone's ass, do it to their face. I've told the story before where I was having a shit night and we ran a call where we found out that our suction wasn't working, our portable suction, and we didn't have a backup. There, I mean, most places don't carry backup portable suctions on each ambulance. So it was late. I want to say it was like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. We'd already been getting spanked, and I I told my partner, I was like, look, I have got to go get caught up on charts. Can you please go take the portable suction to the supervisor for the night and let him know what's going on? Okay, yeah, sure, cool. So I went in, I started doing charts. I had shit to do. Well, 10 minutes later, we get a call. Well, when I had gotten out of the ambulance, I had set the portable suction on the back of the ambulance. It was there when I came out. So I grab it, I put it in the side compartment, and I get in the front. And as we're pulling away, I asked my partner. I said, "Hey, did you take the suction over to so and so?" And they were like, Well, no, I was hungry. Listen, I am all for postponing paperwork to eat. Firm believer. If you need to eat, you need to shit. Paperwork can wait. But that's a pretty critical piece of equipment. Like, I need that. I need that to function. I was pissed. But I shut my fucking mouth because I knew if I said something right then, it was not going to be helpful. And yes, it did come up when I was talking with the supervisor swapped shift earlier than everybody else. So, it came up at the supervisor, passed down, and my supervisor was like, "Well, do I need to say something to them?" I was like, "No, this is my problem. I'll go deal with it. I'll have the conversation. Don't get involved right now." And the next shift I worked with that person, I did have a conversation, and it was a productive conversation. And they were like, "Yeah, I could tell you were pissed." I was like, "Yeah, I kind of was." But we resolved it and carried on. And we were fine. So being good partners off of calls still means showing respect. It still means boosting their confidence and building competence. And just be an adult and handle your shit. Don't drag your personal life into work. Sometimes you can't help it. And it's okay to tell your partner, "Hey, dude, I'm working through some shit. I'm just not in a good space. I'm not gonna be that talkative today. I'm sorry. It's not you. It's nothing personal. I'm just not in a great space today." Cool, fine. That's all. That's all that you need to fucking do. That's it, and everything's fine. So, big takeaway on how to be a good partner off of calls. Again, kind of comes down to communication, but it's make sure that you're looking out for your partner and give them their space and handle shit one on one first before you go and bring anybody else into it. That's all I got for you guys. Be safe. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye bye.